First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Southwest Florida is still recovering from yesterday's deadly storm.
Cold temperatures are back, and not just in North Florida. We'll have more on that coming up.
But first, today marks the 30th anniversary of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. We start off this evening with Gainesville's celebration of Dr. King. Good evening, it's January 18th. I'm Marie Edinger.
And I'm Taylor Trichet. Thanks for joining us. Allison Valdez joins us now with more on how Gainesville celebrated this MLK Day.
This year, the theme is to not just talk about change, but to be about it too. Today, members of the Gainesville community came together to celebrate King's ideals of respect and equality. His spirit was acknowledged in local leaders who were calling on everyone to do more. Hundreds gathered in downtown Gainesville in unity to honor Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy. His words of equality continue to inspire people today.
That we have people in our community who embody the same spirits of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Those people include everyone from talented local students to the superintendent of Alachua County Public Schools.
If it wasn't for the dream and the mission of Dr. King, Owen Roberts would not be standing before you this afternoon.
Roberts spoke of his own dream.
100% graduation rate in 5 years. That's the mission. That's about equality and equity.
After the ceremony, a march reminded everyone to keep working toward Dr. King's dream, one step at a time. Today's program also saluted two local people, Father Roland Julian, known for his work with the homeless, and Nadia Thomas, a GHS senior who is this year's Keeper of the Dream scholarship winner.
Thanks, Allison. Today was a day on, not a day off for hundreds of students in Gainesville. They celebrated MLK's legacy with a day of service. Volunteers worked with local government and nonprofit organizations to lend a helping hand. Things like sprucing up schools and charity homes or helping cheering people up at St. Francis House.
2 people were killed by a tornado and more than 10,000 homes lost power when storms hit southwest Florida yesterday. Tornadoes touched down in Sarasota and Manatee counties, and in Collier County, high winds tossed trees and debris onto roads, yards, and roofs. In Golden Gate, that's a town east of Naples, people heard the wind howling as gusts topped 80 miles an hour.
Well, thankfully, North Florida was spared with some of that severe weather.
Oh, definitely, but we sure have been hit with the cold air here in this area in the wake of that storm. UF forecaster Amanda Hawley joins us now from the Weather Center. Amanda, how cold are those temperatures going to drop to tonight?
Marie Taylor, just cold enough for a freeze warning to be issued for parts of North Florida tonight. Temperatures are expected to drop to right around 30 degrees here in Gainesville. You can see here on this map, the blue areas, that's where a freeze warning is issued. So that does include Levy County tonight. But right now, it's actually pretty chilly out there so far. 55 here in Gainesville, 57 in Ocala, and it's only going to get even colder. Despite today being actually a really nice day, I wanted to quickly show you this time lapse. Pretty much a calm day compared to what we saw over the weekend, as you just saw there, but a high of around 59 degrees. And tonight, though, is going to be dropping quickly. The temperatures will be dropping quickly as that sun sets. Check this out. As you walk out the door on your Tuesday morning, 30 degrees here in Gainesville, 31 in Hawthorne, and it will be even colder in those lower lying areas. I'm going to zoom this in here, and you can see the cooler temperatures, 27 out in Stark, 27 in Alachua, 31 in Hawthorne. So a very cold night ahead and a cold day as well. So you'll want to keep the layers on hand. But coming up in my main weather forecast, I'm going to tell you just how long this cold weather is going to last. Back to you.
Thanks, Amanda. It's going to be chilly here tonight, but Florida isn't the only state seeing cooler temperatures. El Nino may have slowed the start of winter, but this week it's in full force from the Midwest through the East Coast with snow, ice, and extreme cold. Jay Gray has a closer look at the conditions.
Bitter temperatures.
It is disgustingly cold.
And brutal conditions stretch across much of the country right now. Plows struggled to keep the pace as snow and ice turned the morning drive into a demolition derby in Syracuse, with more than 36 accidents there. It was a tough go in New England as well.
They said flurries. This is not flurries.
Near whiteout conditions led to accidents and some anxious moments behind the wheel in Connecticut.
It makes it dangerous, the road's slippery, oh my gosh, it's just a hot mess, your eyes get all wiry.
And even walking was tough in places like Chicago.
It is cold, but we live in the Midwest. We're in Chicago, so it's inevitable that we're going to have it at some point.
Sub-zero temperatures forcing commuters to bundle up.
Definitely a lot of layering. I wear undergarments under all my clothes. Try to cut off all the air so the air doesn't go in.
While firefighters battled deadly flames and extreme conditions in Iowa.
We froze up 6 trucks, 2 fire hydrants, drained a water tower.
And this blast of winter weather may just be an early warning. Forecasters say conditions will get even worse by the end of the week. Jay Gray, NBC News.
In medical marijuana news, is it a mix-up or more? The owner of an Alachua nursery licensed to sell medical marijuana in Florida has said he's working with a team of University of Florida scientists, but officials at the university say they're unaware of any employee working with Wallace. Here's a video from Wednesday's Florida Senate Committee for Regulated Industries.
Contributing 3% of our gross sales to the University of Florida for research on cannabis as a medicine. So it's something that we're very passionate about, and it's something that we really want to work together to pursue.
WUFT reporter Katie Switalski joins us now from the newsroom. Katie, you've spoken with Mr. Wallace today. What is the latest?
Well, Marie, 2 University of Florida spokeswomen say neither UF or any of its employees has any relationship with Chestnut Hill Tree Farm or research on medical marijuana with Robert Wallace. Wallace told the Senate committee, quote, "We've put together a team of scientists both from the University of Florida and from the pharmaceutical industry." His written application to cultivate medical marijuana states that 2.5% of gross sales will go to research, but does not stipulate that money will go to UF alone. UF and UF Health have stated under federal law they cannot receive money from any grower of marijuana, and any employee involved would need to disclose that involvement to the university. As of Friday, university spokeswoman said that UF is not aware of any of its employees working with Mr. Wallace. In a written statement, Wallace told WUFT News Chestnut Hill has never represented that it has a partnership with the University of Florida, and that 2 members of his advisory include a former and a current UF professor from the College of Medicine. And his application includes bios of 2 current and former professors of anesthesiology. You can watch Wallace's full testimony from the Florida Senate Committee on Regulated Industries on our website, WUFT.org. Reporting from the newsroom, Katie Switalski, WUFT News.
Thanks, Katie. In international news, 3 of the 5 Americans freed in a prisoner exchange with Iran arrived in Germany last night. An emotional and momentous 48 hours, the men emerged from an aircraft with their first taste of freedom. Former Marine Amir Hekmati's sister flew in for a reunion.
We have been on pins and needles, dying to see him. We haven't seen him in 4.5 years.
Mystery surrounds the 5th American prisoner who was freed but chose not to leave Iran. The internet lit up during last night's Democratic presidential debate, the biggest search in every single state, Bernie Sanders. There were clear differences between candidates on gun control. Clinton directly confronted Sanders for his previous vote to give gun makers and sellers liability immunity, but Sanders pointed to his D- NRA rating to show he's no friend of the gun lobby. And Senator Sanders directly blasted Clinton for taking speaking fees from big Wall Street banks such as Goldman Sachs. Tune in tomorrow to WFT First at 5 for a more in-depth debate breakdown on our weekly political segment.
With the legislative session underway, people are wasting no time in making their voices heard. WUFT's Kelsey Sanchez explains what drove a grassroots rally in Tallahassee yesterday.
They want to get rid of our monuments. They want to get rid of our flags. They want to get rid of our heritage.
Protesters calling themselves the League of the South gathered in front of the state capitol in Tallahassee, urging people to vote no on House Bill 243 and Senate Bill 154. The bills prohibit the display of the Confederate flag or emblem on any publicly owned or leased property. The House and Senate bill prohibiting the displays and emblems also could potentially affect statues such as Old Joe in downtown Gainesville.
We're saying that this is an agenda. It's not just one isolated incident in the South. It's not one isolated incident in Florida. This is happening all over Florida. This is happening all over the South.
Those standing behind me are coming from counties throughout north central Florida to protest the right to display the Confederate flag in public.
Roughly 35 protesters waved their flags and held up signs on the side of the road, chanting and taking a stand for what they believe is their culture and identity. There was another group who showed up at the protests who disagreed with the display of the battle flag and instead waved the American flag and homemade signs to signify peace and equality. These counter-protesters found out about the event via social media the night before and reached out to as many people to spread the word and protest against the rally.
I feel like we need to speak for the people who are not able to be here today, the people who are being targeted by this hate group.
While the League of the South is not concerned with the bill's passing, the opposing side remains optimistic and believes they will. Kelsey Sanchez, WUFT News.
The bills are currently in House and Senate committees, and for now, Old Joe and other emblems are still displayed. WUFT News First at 5 is just getting started. Coming up, a Florida emergency operator is in hot water, and you'll never guess why. Details on that after the break.
Plus, the latest update on Sean Penn's meeting with the infamous El Chapo. Those stories and more in entertainment news are coming up.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. Calls for help went unanswered at a Florida 911 center when an operator spent 8 minutes on a call of her own, ordering lunch.
The September incident prompted an investigation, which does point the blame at the operator. Willard Shepard reports.
Happy Zuckerberg delivery. It's going to be for delivery, please. It's a business. This is Sunrise Police Department.
That was Francis Francois, the Broward emergency operator who was on the job, placing her lunch order and apparently ordering for coworkers too.
He started to convulse, had a seizure, fell out of the exam chair, crashed.
The order being conducted while here on the other end, workers at the Clearsight Opticians in Fort Lauderdale were calling the 911 line after a man fainted at their office.
I thought there would be more than one person answering the phone. I can't believe there's just the one lady.
A lady that was busy with the pizza shop.
Okay, what can I get for you? Let me have one slice of cheese pizza.
At some points, the operator was checking the prices of the selections.
That one is $9.49. $9.49. Okay. And the rest, I think that's all my cash orders, and I have 3 card orders.
BSO's report says during this time frame, Ms. Francois failed to respond to the incoming 911 calls, despite audible tones and visual alerts, resulting in the 911 calls going unanswered and abandoned. The food order finally ended more than 8 minutes later.
And thank you for being patient with me.
The man who fainted did recover and he is okay. The investigators' reports state the operator acknowledged she should have terminated the lunch order and taken the emergency call coming in. She was given an official order of reprimand. And we'll take a quick turn now to entertainment news.
Crystal Bailey joins with a roundup from Hollywood, California to Camden, Maine.
And I'll throw in Los Michos, Mexico, the town where El Chapo was recaptured. Actor Sean Penn has broken his silence about his trip to Mexico to meet with the notorious drug lord El Chapo. NBC's Jacob Rascone reports from Mexico City.
If you thought Sean Penn was in it for the thrill of the big scoop, Sean Penn would say that you're wrong. In an interview with CBS's Charlie Rose, he says that he has a terrible regret about the entire story and his Rolling Stone article. His purpose in going there, he says, was to begin a conversation about the policy on the war on drugs. And he says, quote, "My article failed. Let me make it clear, my article failed." Meanwhile, we sat down with Mexico's prison boss in charge of the entire federal prison system. And he says he was put in only months after El Chapo escaped last July in order to fix the security. He detailed some of the changes that have taken place, not just at Altiplano prison where El Chapo is being held, but at all the prisons in Mexico. He said El Chapo and other prisoners now have 24-hour physical and electronic surveillance, that there are motion sensors on the floors connected to infrared cameras, that there are new screens for drugs and weapons and other measures, he says, that make him confident, he says, that what happened last July won't happen again. This is, we're learning that official talks face-to-face between Mexican and American authorities have begun in Miami. Jacob Rascone, NBC News, Mexico City.
The U.S. may be buzzing about Sean Penn's involvement, but Mexico is also fascinated by the role of actress Kate Del Castillo. Flirtatious phone messaging chats between El Chapo and Del Castillo have gripped Mexico. An official claimed his obsession with her led him to lower his guard and get caught. Their contact began publicly in 2010 when the actress wrote an open letter calling on El Chapo to traffic in goodness and saying that she believed more in him than the government. She is pledging her to give her story in due course. Now, Don McLean, the singer-songwriter famous for the 1971 classic American Pie, was arrested last night in his home in Maine. He's charged with misdemeanor domestic violence, and details of the incident have not been released, but the police were called out around 2 a.m. this morning. David Bowie's new album Black Star is now #1 in the music charts. Released just 2 days before his death, the album quickly sold more than 174,000 copies. Black Star beat out Adele's 25 for the #1 spot, which Adele held for 7 weeks. The 2002 Best of Bowie album is also back on the charts at #4. And the Oscar nominations based on internal voting, which left out African American stars, will now bring a boycott. Director Spike Lee and actress Jada Pinkett Smith are boycotting this year's Academy Awards. Lee announced on the boycott on his Instagram, saying he could not support the Lily White Oscars. This is the second year acting nominations have gone to only white actors. And it may take another $30 million over the long weekend, but Variety predicts Star Wars will finish third at the box office. The comedy Ride Along 2 is on pace to win the holiday weekend. Variety says it will probably top the $40 million mark in ticket sales, and that could be enough to squeak past The Revenant, which is basking in the glory of Golden Globe wins and Oscar nominations. The Revenant is up for 12 Oscars, the most of any film, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor. So now that Star Wars is now not #1 anymore, have either of you guys seen The Revenant?
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it is good, so it'll be interesting to see which one, whether Revenant or Ride Along 2, will now claim the spotlight.
Oh yeah, I also heard about The Revenant being good. And it's about time Star Wars got knocked out of that spot. It's held it for a while now. All right, thank you, Crystal. Well, it is cold around the U.S. right now.
I know I'll have to plan to limit my time outside these next few days. Amanda, how long is this cold going to last?
It's here to stay for at least the next couple of days. In fact, we've got 2 nights of the next 6 that we could have a freeze. That includes tonight and tomorrow night. It's all part of my 3 big things that I want to show you here. And the first night, we have a freeze warning in effect for this evening. Check it out. Here is my 3 big things. The 2 cold nights ahead are tonight and tomorrow night. So on your Tuesday morning and on your Wednesday morning, you can expect wind chills in the mid-20s and the actual low temperatures in the lower 30s and the upper 20s in the lower lying areas. But besides the cold, we're going to have a sunny work week out there. No rain is expected through Thursday. The highs will still be below average in the upper 50s and the lower 60s, but we do have rain on the way. Our next front will approach the area later in the week on Friday, bringing us another good chance for some rain and some possible thunderstorms for your Friday afternoon. But right now it's actually pretty cold out there, 55 degrees, and especially as the sun sets tonight, temperatures are going to drop rather quickly. 57 in Ocala, 57 out in Lake City as well. I'm going to show you here hour by hour. Just check it out. As soon as we hit 7 a.m., those temperatures are dropping to near 30 here in Gainesville, 26 up in Lake City, 28 out in High Springs. Of course, a little bit colder to the north. And although freeze warnings aren't in effect for Marion County, it's still going to be pretty cold there. Freeze warnings are in effect for Alachua County and points northward. That does include Levy County. But if I zoom in just a little bit here as a closer look at those numbers, 28 out in High Springs, 27 in Alachua, 27 out in Stark. So definitely a cold morning. Bundle up. Make sure you bring in the plants and the pets tonight before you go to bed, especially because the winds will be making it feel even colder than those low temperatures. Feeling like the mid-20s by the time you walk out the door. Just a light northerly wind is going to make it feel almost 4 to 5 degrees colder than it actually is, especially with those colder skies. And tomorrow afternoon, you're going to want to keep the layers on because our high temperature is only 51 degrees. That means most of the day will be spent in the upper 50s out there across upper 40s, out across north central Florida. But we've got dry air overhead for now. That's allowing some cooler air to filter in thanks to some high pressure off to the north, and it's not allowing our temperatures to rise very much during the day as well. But that's only here for just a little while. We've got a storm system on the way, but for your Wednesday afternoon, it'll be a little bit warmer out there. 60 degrees in Gainesville, 63 out in Ocala, 62 in Crystal River. Still below average for this time of year though. But I mentioned, here's the high pressure. It's in place till at least Thursday afternoon. Until Thursday afternoon, we've got no rain in the forecast. You can see that clear skies overhead in north central Florida, and not much rain is expected elsewhere. Maybe a few sprinkles in the panhandle until Thursday night. That's when this low pressure system is really going to start to build, and it is going to make its way closer to north central Florida. This is moving through Friday at noontime. So another system kind of looking like the previous three that have moved through over the past week. We're not expecting anything too severe just yet. However, it is still 4 days off, and we will keep you updated, and we will watch this closely, especially considering what happened over the past 3 storm systems as this moves through on Friday. So for your 6th day, though, it is looking quite chilly for the next 3 days. Rain doesn't move back into the forecast until Friday. Weekend looks cold too. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Amanda. Well, it has been an up and down season so far for the Gator men's basketball team.
They had an SEC road test at Ole Miss on Saturday. WUFT sports anchor Connor Ingalls joins us now.
That's right. Head coach Mike White has been urging the Gators to come out with energy when they play on the road, and they delivered this weekend. We'll look at Florida's win over the Rebs and hear from Coach White. All that and more in sports after the break. The Florida Gators men's basketball team has had a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde look this season. And when they're on the road, they've been a lot more Hyde, losing 4 straight road games heading into this past weekend. That's what makes Saturday's win at Ole Miss all the more important for this Gator team that's trying to work out its flaws. Welcome back to sports. I'm Connor Ingalls. The Gators hadn't won a true road game since their opener against Navy over 2 months ago. But you wouldn't have been able to tell in Oxford. Florida came out on fire. They scored the first 8 points of the ball game and rolled to a 19-point lead at halftime. The Rebs went on a run late in the second to make the score a little closer, but Florida won it comfortably 80-71. The key, the three-point ball. On the season, the Gators are shooting an ugly 30% from beyond the arc. But on Saturday, Florida went 11 for 20, 55% from 3. Kayvon Allen led the effort, going 6 for 7 on three-point tries and pouring in a game-high 27 points. Afterwards, head coach Mike White said the Gators need Allen to play that way each time out.
Not that you expect him to get 27 every night, but we need him to be aggressive every night for sure, regardless of what his shooting percentage is, or a team that has our offensive deficiencies. And Kayvon, he can't have big games for us if he's not aggressive.
We won't have to wait long to see if Allen gets the message. Florida hosts Mississippi State tomorrow at 7. The women's basketball team was in the O-Dome yesterday, taking on the LSU Tigers. The now 22nd ranked Gators traded the lead with the Tigers for 3 quarters and found themselves down 40-33 with just under 10 minutes left in the fourth. But that's when the offense came to life, going on an 11-1 run to regain the lead. Florida wound up scoring 20 of their 53 points in the fourth as they took down LSU 53-45. It was the first time all season the Gators scored less than 60, which wasn't such a bad thing to head coach Amanda Butler.
Be able to win in more than just, let's score 80 points, more than one way. And I think that's, another satisfying thing about tonight is very low scoring and still able to pull it out.
The Gators will get back on the hardwood Thursday when Alabama comes to the O-Dome. The Hoops teams weren't the only ones in action this weekend. Florida Gymnastics had their home opener. It was a big-time matchup for head coach Jenny Rowland's first meet in the O-Dome. The third-ranked Gators hosting the fifth-ranked UCLA Bruins. It was also a big success, Florida winning it 197.675 to 196.925. Senior All-American Bridget Sloan had just another day at the office, winning the uneven bars and all-around. The Gators get back at it on Friday at Auburn. And Championship Sunday in the NFL is set following a dramatic divisional round weekend. The Cards beat the Packers in one of the most insane games you'll ever see. The Panthers will join them in the NFC title bout after jumping out to a 31-0 lead against the Seahawks and holding on. Tom Brady and the Patriots will yet again play for a Super Bowl berth after taking down the Chiefs. They'll be in Denver for that one since the Broncos were able to get by the Steelers. So for the 17th time, it'll be Brady v. Manning. Tom's gotten the better of Peyton throughout their careers, winning 11 of the first 16 matchups. But last time it mattered in the postseason, it was Manning who got the best of Brady when the Broncos beat the Pats in the 2014 AFC Championship game. The NFC matchup will be a lot more green, and no, I don't mean because of the Packers. Despite Mother Mary trying to intervene twice, they've existed for the duration of the Super Bowl era, but the Cardinals will be playing in just their second NFC Championship game ever. The Panthers have gotten this far 3 times before, but like the Cardinals can reach their second ever Super Bowl with a win. Both franchises are still looking for their first Super Bowl title.
Connor, before we go, one last check on the weather.
Here's Amanda.
A freeze warning is in effect for parts of North Florida tonight. This includes Alachua County and Levy County, points northward. Marion County is under a freeze watch tonight. Temperatures will be falling into the low 30s, and wind chills will feel even colder than that by the time you walk out the door. Bundle up, make sure your plants and pets are covered and protected this evening as temperatures fall into the lower 30s and upper 20s for tonight. Back to you.
Thanks, Amanda. We'll be back tomorrow at 5, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org.
Here on WUFT TV, BBC World News is up next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7 o'clock. Have a good night.